Welcome back to Nonsense and Nothingness, everybody.
Welcome back.
It's been a hot second, since we've gotten to record.
It's been a sweaty second, yes.
Very sweaty. But
Yes.
I've missed this. I've missed all 12 of you subscribers. We went up one.
Did we really?
We were stagnant at 11 for a second there. I started to get worried. I really did.
But hey, we're growing.
Hey.
Not well, we're growing.
It was really, truly just a glimmering light.
What is that? It's like an 18% growth? Or no. That's like an 8% growth.
That's an 8% growth in a day.
In a single day, we got an 8% growth.
So if you think about it like that, we are massively successful.
We're amazing.
Any massive company, if you ask them, hey, would you like 8% growth in a day? They would say, unheard of, impossible. Yeah. We're doing it all the time.
If the U.S. economy grows 8%, like, people will shit themselves.
Yeah, seriously.
You know? So,
all that being
massive
said,
inflation.
8%. Keep on giving us 8%. Everybody out there. That's all we're asking for. But this is episode 10, a very special episode because we're 10% of the way to 100.
Correct.
That is how math works.
Mathematically correct, sir.
And so we wanted to celebrate a little bit. At least I know I wanted to celebrate a little bit.
And I'm just here for the ride.
Yeah, I was on a very long road trip this past weekend, and I stopped in Tennessee for some genuine Tennessee whiskey bought in Tennessee, but instead
of a Tennessee whiskey, what did you bring home?
I ended up with a Japanese whiskey, which is something I've been very excited to try because we all know that the Japanese just do it better.
I feel like Japanese whiskey makers perfected their art for millions of years.
Probably.
At least a million years.
At least 1 million. But there are some really good whiskeys that come out of Japan. I don't know if this is one of them because I can't really read a lot of the bottle. But
right.
I'm excited to try it. It does have a screw top, which is a little bit of a knock against it, but it wasn't cheap. So I'm hoping that it was good and that I didn't just get screwed.
What if that's the Japanese symbol for Jack Daniels? That would be so funny.
They just buy American Jack Daniels and rebottle it
with a screw top.
But the bottle is it's a very tall bottle. It has an almost parchmenty label that is blue and with silver Japanese symbols on it.
It looks really cool. It's so Connor's holding the bottle in his hand now, and it almost looks like, is that supposed to be like bamboo or something
on
the front?
Yeah, I think it might be.
It has that kind of texture.
I think it's supposed to be bamboo, but it is on the top and on the label. It has Mars and a crest, but it is
a crest with a lion and
some
a woodpecker
bird. Yeah, woodpecker.
I guess
two very fearsome creatures.
Equally fierce in their respective environments.
But I'm probably going to butcher this real bad. But it's either EYE or IY. I think Mars whiskey.
EY?
IEY. This is. I'm gonna stop.
Just
now.
Stop pronouncing and let's start.
And
drinking.
we're gonna pour up. So, if you got some Japanese whiskey and you want to pour up with us,
please join us.
Definitely broke that.
And that's why we don't use screw tops.
Yep. All
Fill
right.
me up,
Here we
Buttercup.
go. I really hope this is good. But it smells good from here.
It smells powerful.
Holy.
Well, actually, it kind of went away.
Did it?
So
was it the initial?
The initial smell was super powerful. It just hit me right in the nose. And we should say, by the way, that it's a beautiful amber whiskey, not like
it's really dark
McGregor Scotch or whatever that we tried. This looks really good.
Also, the bottle has mountains carved in the bottom and the top of it.
It does. That's cool. You know, it's like a custom bottle then, or at least a not your generic.
Unless these bottles are just all over Japan.
These are good. You're bad, Connor.
Yeah, you're
Best
right.
assumptions only.
You're right. All right, let's try it out.
Let's try it. Wow, really interesting flavor up front. Super just spiky on the back end.
Yeah.
Like really.
You know what this is?
What?
It's a better version of monkey shoulder.
I can see that. You think it's like a scotch?
No, I don't know. Maybe.
Well, I mean, it's probably not a scotch.
No,
because it's from Japan.
Yeah, in order to be scotch, it's got to be from Scotland.
Right. But it has almost like a nougaty flavor on the front end.
It's good.
That initial like half second when you taste it is so interesting. I've never tasted that from a whiskey we've tried.
I could drink a lot of this.
And then it's just got that burn on the back end, just so you know.
But in a good way.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt. It's satisfying.
I mean, obviously you want to be reminded you're drinking some alcohol.
Yeah. That's what it's all about.
It's all about the booze.
Yeah. It's really good.
I like it.
What would you give it?
A 7.5.
7.5?
What would you give it?
I would give it an 8.2.
Cool.
Feels a little bit better than an 8, but not in the 8.5.
Connor, are we just going to start throwing fractions in here?
Mm-hmm.
And repeating decimals?
Because if you think about this,
okay,
we're going to drink a lot of whiskeys.
You're right.
And if all of them are 0.5s, we're going to run out of differentiating places.
Oh, you know what we should do? We should make a huge whiskey tower and like rank them and have like,
I think that's eventually what's going to happen.
That's definitely what's going to happen. Or we can do like 20 shelves and just have it on each shelf as like a hierarchy of whiskeys.
The wheels are turning. Yeah. I'm wanting that to happen.
We're creating content while we're providing content.
We're creating content while we're creating content, believe it or not.
Amazing.
Amazing.
That's how dedicated we are.
But it's good. I would recommend it. I'm going to keep drinking throughout the podcast and let you know where my heart lands.
I think I'm going to try it with some rocks.
Experience. Yeah, I think that could be good.
I'm just going to throw a few.
Emphasis on the throw.
Well, I'm sorry. I wish I had the little ice tongs that you see fancy people using.
Mm-hmm. It's a solid whiskey.
It's definitely a solid one.
What was really fun for me...
Ooh, that ice just enhances the sweetness on the front end, like, even more.
I walked into this place. It was a little sketchy on the outside. Paint was faded.
That's how you know it's a good liquor store.
Of the liquor store, you know. There was only, like, one car in the parking lot.
Was this in the foothills of Tennessee, like, just in the middle of nowhere?
It was by Knoxville, actually.
Okay.
So I walked in... and it was way bigger than I thought it was going to be. And I kind of went towards the back, and I found all these Japanese whiskeys, and there was a $350 Japanese whiskey back there.
Oh, my goodness.
And I thought about buying it for about 0.5, and then I said, oh, wait.
Yeah, maybe later. Maybe sometime later. Maybe for 100th episode.
Mm-hmm. It really does. The ice really does enhance the sweetness.
On the front end.
It really does. I like it. But... now that we've gotten through the Whiskey of the Week, and we're going to continue to go through the Whiskey of the Week through the podcast. The
Whiskey of the Week never ends.
It really doesn't.
We start and end with the Whiskey of the Week.
We do. But let's hop into this week's episode.
Cool.
One, email us at nothingness@gmail.com. As we always say, we will reply to you.
We love answering questions.
It's going to happen.
Right now it will. When we're rich and famous...
we're going to commit to answering some of them.
Only 5 at a time. So, unless you're one of those
I just thought you were just throwing out just 5. At some arbitrary point in time, we're just going to answer 5.
Yeah, we're about to hit 2, so time's running out.
Yeah, time is running out. But please email us, follow us on Instagram, and just know that we post weekly videos on YouTube, sometimes bi-weekly when we're really feeling it. So every Sunday, videos are rolling up, and on most Wednesdays, videos get thrown up onto the YouTube.
We throw up videos. Yes. Videos.
But I have a question for you, Seth.
Go for it.
Why don't people use their blinker?
Because the sound is annoying.
You think so? So it's shitty car design. Because I just want it to be a click. Like, clicks are fine. My blinker doesn't annoy me.
Right. Blinkers are an interesting topic. My mom is a lawyer, and she always told me to always use your blinker at all times so that people who ride with you, if you get into an accident that involves a use of a blinker, they can be a character witness and tell the judge and the court that you always use your blinker and you have never not used your blinker. And this kind of highlights it's the reason you use a blinker is not really because it's convenient. It's not really because it gives other people on the road this great advantage, although that's the intended use. It's to save yourself legally.
Okay, it's to cover your own ass. Is what you're saying.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Why do you think people are averse to using blinkers?
I think most people are lazy.
Yeah.
That's honestly my MO in life. I was like, I am often of the mindset that most people are lazy.
And you think people are too lazy just to hit that switch on their way?
Because I drove for approximately 13 hours today.
Wow.
And all to get back to you, Seth, and viewers, listeners.
Married to the game.
Married to the game. And it's just in this heavy traffic. Some people are just weaving in and out, no blinkers, cutting people off. And I got cut off several times. And I was a very upset boy.
Right.
And it just made me think of why. I probably 98% of the time use my blinker. If you're in open lanes on the interstate and no one's around you, don't use your blinker. You're annoying if you use your blinker. Mm-hmm. And I mean genuinely open. No one's around you. But if you're in heavy traffic, use your blinker. Please. I'm pleading.
I agree with you, Connor. And you know what the actual law says? This can be our interesting learning moment.
There you go. I like it.
Of the podcast. Mm-hmm. The law says you have to signal your blinker 2 seconds before you make a lane change. So you have to go blinker 1, 2, and then change.
Yeah, that's bullshit. That never happens.
Nobody ever does that, right? But we also have speed limits.
Yeah.
And nobody follows those.
I feel like people are either in the camp of they put their blinker on and they wait for like 20 seconds before they do anything.
Right.
Or they're like, no blinker, don't go.
People have
just like a flash and go.
People have this idea, this notion that their blinker is to signal to other people to get out of their way. Uh-huh. And if people don't perceive anyone else being in their way, then why would they use their blinker? They'll just make a lane change.
That's fair.
That's what people think. The problem is it's obviously not the safest thing to do. Mm-hmm. Blinkers are required by law if you want to make a lane change. Mm-hmm. And also, blinkers are really good at telling you if your taillight's out.
Yeah.
Because they speed up. Like if you ever have a super fast blinker, it's because you have a taillight out.
Interesting. I didn't know that. That's good to know.
Yeah, it is. It's just one of those quirks.
That's really interesting.
And so one of my
nice blinker quirk.
If your blinker bulb is out, and maybe you don't want people to know, or maybe you did signal your blinker and it just didn't go on because your blinker bulb's out. Mm-hmm. But anyways, I think people in America, especially in general, are just bad drivers.
Yeah, I think the people that I encountered today were just jerks. I don't think that their blinker was out. I'm genuinely upset.
You gotta have high hopes for people, Connor.
No. I found this, and maybe this is something wrong with my assessment. I have found that of all my friends, of many of my friends and people that I am associated with, I have the least hope for humanity.
Okay. Why?
Because I assume that everybody's lazy. I assume that everybody wants the easiest and quickest way out of any situation. Mm-hmm. I assume that the majority of people do not want to work for things in their life, which is probably wrong of me and probably harsh.
I think you're basically describing everyone
America.
Else as, well, at least America, as like just a bunch of pigs running around, just trying to live life the easiest way possible, like a bunch of cows just mooing.
Sounds about right.
Eating cud. I don't know.
No.
I think everyone has the capacity to do great things.
I agree.
And
for the most part,
I think there are a lot of traps in our society to where you can be super lazy, and there's a lot of distractions in our society that can kind of take your attention. And if you don't really want to focus on anything or make anything of your life, there are a lot of avenues to fulfill that dream.
Yeah.
That being said, I think the American spirit and the human spirit in general is toward progress. I don't think we'd be where we are at now.
Where we at?
I don't think we'd be where we at now if humans didn't have a tendency towards good and progress.
That's fair. I just see some shit and I'm like, oh gosh, humanity.
Now, after
doomed.
driving 13 hours on the interstate, my ideas about humanity might be a
you go drive
little...
13 hours on the interstate and do a podcast in the same day.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Power to you, man. That's impressive.
Yeah. So another thing that happened on my drive.
Go for it.
You see lottery billboards.
Correct.
And you don't see those in Mississippi, even though Mississippi did successfully vote in a lottery, and it is supposedly coming in late 2019. For all you Mississippians out there, a new voluntary tax for you.
Right.
But you see them. I think it's Powerball is at like $215 million, and
it's pretty low.
Yeah, and the but I would not be
the
complaining.
Mega Millions.
And the Mega Millions is right at $300 million. As of recording.
That's pretty high.
Which is pretty good. The highest that Mega Millions has ever been, I believe, is like 1.2 or 1.5 billion, something like that. That's a lot of money.
That is. So a couple things I want to talk about with the lottery. One,
I was saying all that to let's talk about the lottery. Give me your perspective.
Is that Mississippi doesn't have a lottery, and I think it's for a good reason. Our state has had a pretty crappy time dealing with gambling in general, and it goes without saying that lotteries are a poor tax. The zip codes that buy the most lottery tickets are also the poorest.
Correct.
And it's because rich people don't put money into the lottery because it's dumb. And they know it's statistically out of the realm of possibility, but that little kernel of hope really sticks hard to the people who are barely making it.
Yeah.
And in general, we don't want the poorest people in our state to be spending money on lottery tickets. We want them to spend money on food and education.
On food and education.
So
yeah, but it's coming. The lottery is coming, and the first $80 million of it is going to infrastructure. Thank God. And after that, the rest is going to education.
And I think other states have kind of proven that lotteries can be effective ways to do it. Most lotteries, the proceeds go to like education.
Yeah,
in their state.
Or infrastructure of some sort, or the veterans.
But I mean, honestly, it's one of the most effective ways to raise money.
Oh, for sure.
The U.S. government used to have lotteries.
Really?
Back in like the 1700s.
We should bring that back.
Yeah. Just a federal government lottery.
No, I think the hope of riches is something that really motivates people. Even though it's so statistically improbable that even if you bought 1 million lottery tickets, it barely means anything. Like you could spend $1 million on lottery tickets and barely get anywhere.
There was that one guy that actually mathed the lottery. Did you hear about this?
No.
It was some guy from like Russia, and he came to the United States with like $400,000 and actually made money buying a crap ton of lottery tickets. Like he did the math, figured out like how many he would have to buy, all the numbers he would need, and he just went and like had a team of people that went to like every state's gas station and just bought. And he ended up making like his money back. Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. Sounds like a lot of effort for...
It's an extreme amount of effort, and it's just totally the outlier, and they changed how the lottery works since then to avoid that happening. But But yeah, it's statistically improbable. You'll never... If you buy one lottery ticket, good luck. I don't know. I think the chances are like 1 in a trillion or something.
It's something crazy. I Googled it today, and it's several billion. Yeah. Several billion.
So good luck, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think about lotteries? Do you think it's...
I think that they serve two purposes. Obviously, one, to raise money for education or whatever else the state needs help with, because Lord knows Mississippi needs help.
Right.
But it is obviously a poor tax. It is obviously a voluntary tax. But I think that it should be a thing, because I think ultimately it has a positive benefit. And because it's not required, people can choose to, you know. I'm a big proponent of, I want people to be able to choose what they want to do. You know, I want the government in as least as few things as possible. So I want lotteries to be available. I want, you know, gay marriage to be available. I want all of these things because I think people should be able to choose what they want to do, and the government to kind of stay out of their lives.
I think one counter argument to the point that I made would be that cigarettes are probably also a poor tax.
Oh, for sure.
You know, and charging people $8 instead of $5 for their addiction, that, you know, is probably outsized in a poor community, is also a poor tax. But at the same time, it's a voluntary tax, like you said. You can choose whether or not to play the lottery, and you can choose whether or not to smoke a cigarette. But interestingly enough, they both affect like the pleasure centers of your brain.
Correct. And that was a question that I had for you that I wanted to bring up on the podcast, is why do you think people spend so much time, money, and effort in vices? So gambling, cigarettes, alcohol. We know it's bad for us, or it's risky, or not a good use of our time, money, and efforts, potentially. I know that there are a lot of people, you crack open a bottle of X thing and you really enjoy your time with your friends. But what I mean is, why do you think people actively choose to do things that are poor for their health, even when they know that it's poor for their health, like smoking? Everyone knows that cigarettes are terrible.
Right.
And alcohol, especially in excess, not good. But people do it anyway. Why do you think that is?
So, the first thing I'll jump to is automatically the brain chemistry. And it's obviously a brain chemistry problem. That your reward centers in your brain are stimulated by this, and your body is literally telling you it's a good thing. That being said, you are obviously in control of your actions. Okay?
Correct.
And whether your body is telling you to do something, just because your body tells you to do something, humans have long had the ability to like not do that thing. Like, you know, there are a lot of times where I just, you know, want to punch a hole in the wall, but I don't do it because that's stupid, and I'd break my hand.
You angry?
I don't know, just random
no,
stuff.
I get what you're saying. You're like, you're feeling aggressive. You're a young man full of testosterone.
Right. So you definitely have that ability to not do that. That being said, there's also this habituation that happens.
Yeah.
Like in World War II, we used to give to our soldiers in their like lunch meals. We would give them I guess whatever meal they would have, like a burger and just some mashed potatoes, and then like 2 cigarettes.
Yep.
And that would be their coping mechanism.
Yeah. Did you know that in Vietnam they gave them cocaine?
Well, that was a prescription drug back then.
No, yeah, exactly. They were like, "Oh, you're having some PTSD issues, huh? Here's some cocaine."
Oh my gosh, the stuff we did not know about mental illness back then is really frightening.
Yeah.
Really scary.
Humans are funny. Humans are funny
like,
beasts.
Yeah, shake it off. Here's some cocaine.
Here's some cocaine. You just snort
sniff this.
Snort that right up your snosh, and you'll be fine.
Hey, take a $1 bill and just roll it like this. And then
you take that card and you just move it into a line.
Do you have a mirror, officer?
You just snort that right there.
You just right into you. But
that's crazy.
Yeah, and that being said,
also this is like the second or third time we've talked about cocaine in 10 episodes.
Do we have a problem, Connor?
No.
No, hey, hand me that keyboard.
Yeah.
Anyways, the reward centers in your brain are very powerful.
Yeah, for sure. The dopamine receptor, and the fact that you can fry them in the sense of you have to go bigger and better in order to get the same sort of dopamine response is It's a flaw
in
humans. One of many.
One of many, yeah. We are definitely not biologically perfect by any means, and there are a lot of things...
I am.
Okay.
No.
Well.
That was a joke.
Anyways. There are a lot of flaws in humans, and that's also an interesting topic. Like, humans, as far as survival in Earth, not the most efficient beings.
No. We should be screwed.
Right.
Like, if you think about it, we don't make sense.
Go for it.
So what I mean is, our brains helped us out a lot.
Yes.
Which is a great thing. But your brain doesn't mean jack shit when a bear wants to eat you. Or a mountain lion. Or a tiger. Or a lion. Or most wild things. Wolves.
Yeah, most predators would absolutely eat us alive.
Just wreck us.
Absolutely.
Maybe the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnsons of the world stand a mild chance against the smaller predators.
Like a
there
was
lone
that guy
wolf.
that fought off that mountain lion.
Yeah, like a lone wolf or a small mountain lion.
First, do you know how big wolves are?
They're massive.
They're like the biggest dogs you can think of, and they're massive and furry and have fangs. That's like a wolf.
And they have crazy endurance. Did you know that whenever they hunt like deer, they play with them? Because the deer's running for its life, and the dogs are like, oh, we'll just jog this out and wait till it gets tired.
Yeah.
That's what they do. And then they just go for the jugular and snap that mug in half. And it's like, yeah, this is what's up.
Wolves are really scary, and I honestly understand why we had to wipe them out for a minute there.
But let's bring them back. You know what I don't get is the people who are like, oh my gosh, they're adorable. I just want them everywhere.
Those are
it's
the
like
people
you
who
would die.
think huskies are wolves, and they are not the same.
Those are different animals.
Like when people have this, they think of dogs and like a husky, like knee-height husky. They're like, oh, it's so cute. No, wolves are like double that size.
Yeah.
And they're vicious, and they don't give a shit about you.
They will wreck your ass.
They have no attachment like built into their genes. They are just pure wild animal.
I am convinced that if you dropped the majority of humanity off in the wilderness and fairly decently kitted, like you've got clothes,
kitted, yeah.
You even have a flint and a steel. You've got. I'm not going to give you a gun, but you have like a machete. Mm-hmm. You're gonna die. Most people are gonna die.
Yeah, like if you just, yeah. If you just survivor man's like half the population of the world, they would like half the world would not be able to survive like day one.
I mean, I'm not saying I would. I'm just saying most people.
Right, but that just goes to show how ill-equipped humans are for the environment. Like think about how we evolved to like not have hair
anywhere except
like
for our heads.
Our face, and like how weird is that? Like every other animal, no other animal's walking around like completely naked and then just like a full head of hair. Like no animal is born that way except for humans. And apparently it was because it helps us sweat better. It helps us regulate heat better. I don't buy it.
That's a lie from the government.
That is a lie.
But yeah, I don't think most people would survive, and that leads me into my next question, which I think is always an interesting topic for everyone, just around the campfire. If you open a bottle of whiskey, is what do you do in the apocalypse? So,
what kind of apocalypse?
Well, let's have some fun with this.
Okay.
So first of all, we'll do an unrealistic apocalypse.
Okay.
Zombie apocalypse. But now we have to decide if it's World War Z zombies or if it's... have you seen that movie?
Yes.
Or like Game of Thrones zombies, the White Walkers, or which those are fairly similar.
Walking Dead? Like
or
just
Walking
the crawlers?
Because I firmly believe if the Walking Dead zombies are a thing, humanity's fine. I think the military could figure that out.
Yeah.
Because you could use their attraction to noise against them. You just set up a massive speaker system in the middle of some open field. You set that thing off, and then you nuke the shit out of it.
With how surveillance is nowadays, I feel like we'd be able to isolate this incident before it kind of takes
got
shape.
out of hand.
And I don't know. I feel like we, as a society, would adapt a lot better than The Walking Dead portrays humanity doing.
However, World War Z zombies, we might be screwed.
Where they can like run and
they become super athletes.
Right.
I think we'd probably be screwed. Well, I think there'd be pockets of society that survives. Mm-hmm. But one, we have an inherent advantage in Mississippi.
What?
There aren't as many people. I think if you live in LA or New York City or any big city across the world and the zombie apocalypse actually happens, you are in the most danger. Mm-hmm. Because the hubs is where it's going to spread the fastest, right?
What's your theory of zombie spreading here? Are we going with The Walking Dead like it's a brain disease that only activates when you die kind of thing? Or are we going with like this is just a disease, you're infected, you become a zombie? Because I think that was the World War Z case.
Yeah, the World War Z case was you have to have gotten bitten.
Yes.
It had to get into your bloodstream.
Right.
Somehow. And also there was this weird thing where the diseased zombies were able to tell if you were a viable host for the disease. Mm-hmm. If you were, spoiler alert, if you had cancer or some terminal illness.
Or you were really old, right?
Yeah, or you were... I don't think that it's that you were really old. I think that there were a lot of old people, because old people, on average, are the sickest of us.
Right.
Because their body is decaying.
So what would you do, Connor? What would be your first move if zombie apocalypse starts now?
Oh, it's island time.
Just go straight to the island, whatever island?
Well, this is what I do. The second any report of any zombie, like legitimately zombie-like thing happens, I'm getting my girlfriend, we're going straight home, because I live out in the back-ass woods of nowhere, pretty much. And then we put a plan together of we're either going further into the back-ass woods of nowhere, or we're going to an island. Okay. Either one. And I will steal a boat to get there.
Any means necessary.
Yeah, and you're taking as many food and provisions as possible, and you take animals with you. And so what I mean by that...
What kind of animals?
Is it, if you go to the island, you're probably screwed. Because as I mentioned earlier, the majority of humanity, including myself, will die if dropped into the wilderness.
Okay.
Right? So you have to give yourself the best chance possible. So that means guns, ammunition, etc. But that also means a sustained food source. So I'm thinking you figure out a way to find chickens. If you are me, my family has a ton of pigeons already.
Right.
Because my dad and his hobbies. So we've got that. So you need a sustained food source, and you bring fishing equipment. I think that's what you do.
Okay.
And you go to an island, and you wait that out.
You wait out the whole thing.
I mean, what else do you do? And this is what you can do. Mm-hmm. You put a task force together. Okay. I also think this. I think at the beginning of the apocalypse is whenever most people are willing to work together. I think once you get into the depths of the apocalypse, people are going to be cutthroat. Because now resources are slim. They don't know that they can trust you. I think people are going to be their biggest obstacle at that point. Mm-hmm. As it is portrayed in The Walking Dead, right? Negan is a mofo.
I think you hit on something there. I think if the zombie apocalypse happened, I think the step one would be community up.
Oh, for sure.
Every community would get band together, build the fences. Mm-hmm. Like every community would be out there, like with their guns, with whatever they have. And I think you try and hold on to the social order as like fast and early as possible. And you beat the zombies
on a small scale, because it's not going to work large scale.
Well, I mean, it's obviously if like we find the first zombie, okay, and that thing is getting quarantined so fast,
so hard,
so fast, it's being shipped over to the CDC. They're gonna mutilate that body and figure out what the hell happened, And they're going to tell us within like a week. And then at that point, the U.S. military is going to step in and say, okay, this is how it spreads. This is what you need to do. And I believe that the way to guard yourself in the meantime and in the future is you go home, wherever that is, and community up. And if that means if you live on a farm all by yourself, that means you build the biggest fences around and you find whoever has the property like 200 acres over and you tell him you need to build fences too. And everybody builds up, everybody guns up, and I'm ready for this fight, dude.
Yeah.
I'm not going to no island.
Yeah, okay.
I'm
so
fighting
no island.
thing.
See, this is my thought, is you take as many people as can possibly be sustained to the island. Because you need a home base. You got to have a home base.
The new capital.
Yeah. Because this is the thing. If you're not on an island, there is a chance that you're getting overrun.
Correct.
Right? If you're on an island, unless these are some crazy super zombies, they're not swimming to you, right? So there's little to no chance of you being overrun by the zombies. So if you get, at the beginning, enough people, you can create a task force and slowly, especially if it's the Walking Dead kind of zombies, but if something happens to where the U.S. military and basically countries don't exist anymore and it's just human survival is the law of the land, right? I think you get as many people together as you can at the beginning of the apocalypse. You've set up a home base on the island where there's sustained resources, food, water, shelter, because, Maslow's hierarchy, you got to have those things.
Okay.
That's your sustained area. And then you create a task force that can go out for resources and that steadily clears areas and builds barriers to make sure they stay clear. I think that's what you do. And that's why I think the island approach is the best, is because it can't be overrun by zombies. It could be overrun by humans, and I think humans are going to be their biggest obstacle.
I think humans are going to be your biggest obstacle, because what island are you going to go to?
I don't know. We're going to find something.
Nearest island from where we live would probably be off the Gulf Coast of Mississippi, which would be like Cat Island, Ship Island. Virtually no animals live over there, and it's just a strip of like a barrier, or like a barrier dune. It has trees and stuff,
but you also don't need. I'm not talking like you don't even need an ocean island, so to speak.
You're just middle of a big lake.
You need, yeah, exactly.
Okay,
that's what I think.
Okay, middle of the reservoir. There's that little island where all the pelicans sit.
You need to be on an island. I'm a firm believer in the island theory.
Okay, I'm loading up and I'm fighting this thing.
So okay. So you're just I'm gonna wall my property and fight.
And fight. Yes, I'm going to. I think the effects of the zombie apocalypse later down the road are so great that humanity will probably survive, but it'll be a complete wipe down. And
for sure,
honestly, I'd rather go down with the chance that I could help stop this thing in the beginning before it gets to that stage, rather than try and wait it out and just assume that, like, okay, 99% of humanity is gone. It's been like 5 years. The zombies run out of energy and then they die. And then I can walk back and be the ruler of the United States. That's kind of not what I see as being like the productive way to go about it. But also, in all likelihood, if we're putting any hint of reality into this, how long are these zombies expected to keep going? Just from a metabolic standpoint.
Yeah.
Unless they become photosynthetic. Like, these bodies are going to deteriorate after a matter of days. Within a week, any horde of zombies would fall apart.
But if you think about it, I mean, if they're World War Z zombies, no. Well, actually, false. Because World War Z zombies, they don't eat the bodies. They just bite.
Right. Is there...
They'll just kill you.
Do the Walking Dead zombies eat animals?
Yes. The Walking Dead zombies eat everything.
Okay.
They eat people, they eat animals, they eat everything.
Okay. Interesting. Then...
And so I think as long as the zombies are able to find sustenance in some way, I think they could stay alive. I think that's the point. Because the disease wants its host to stay alive.
Okay. I mean...
So I like the whole idea of, well, give it a week. Just hunker down for a week.
Yeah.
And you should probably be okay because they're not going to be able to walk metabolically.
Yes, metabolically speaking, at the same time, like, how much food does the U.S. have? Like, how much do we have to import to keep our people happy now? Like, I can't imagine if all foreign trade everywhere was cut off when the zombie apocalypse happened. There aren't these, and I don't see zombies, by the way, going to Chipotle and eating a bunch of fruit salad.
Correct.
I see them eating just the wild animals. They're going to run out pretty fast. And I think the zombies will die out after that. So if you can hunker down for at most a year, I think you're okay. I do.
Okay. So that's the zombie apocalypse scenario. So and that is not the most realistic, so to speak.
What's your other apocalypse
scenario? The other apocalyptic scenario is either a nuclear winter, where we're probably all screwed.
It's hard to come back from that.
It's hard to come back from that. Or there's some sort of societal collapse from some...
Water scarcity?
Either that, because that's totally possible.
Right.
Or a feasible disease in the sense of... Like, if smallpox happens again, like something to that scale...
Yeah, or even that flu from, like, the 19-teens that came out and wiped out, like, a quarter of the Earth.
Yeah.
Like, that flu... Or if something like that happened?
Yeah, so honestly, I think society will either collapse via nuclear winter.
Okay. Let's say North Korea nukes everybody.
I have a theory about North Korea, but we can talk about that at some point. We're drinking an Asian whiskey. We can bring
Japanese.
Yeah.
Be culturally sensitive.
You're right. I think it's either going to be a nuclear winter or there's going to be some sort of disease that we don't know what to do with. Because the bacteria are getting better.
Correct.
We are losing the antibiotic versus bacteria war.
Yes, we are.
And it's our own fault.
Just the fact that penicillin used to work on everything and now it works on like 30% of things should really scare you.
Yeah.
That should really freak you out.
If you don't know about this, you need to listen up, ladies and gents. Bacteria is becoming resistant to certain types of bacteria are becoming resistant to almost everything that we can throw at it.
Yeah.
So what happens is you get an infection. You go to the doctor. The doctor's like, hey, take this medicine. You take it. You take the full regimen. Great. You're fine. What happens is there are sometimes these things called mutations. And the bacteria becomes resistant to whatever that antibiotic is. And then that bacteria starts repopulating and starts spreading. And then the antibiotic that used to kill it no longer does. So we got to come up with a new antibiotic.
Right. And one of the biggest problems with that is people not taking the full regimen.
Exactly.
Because when you do that, you kill off like 99% of the bacteria that are susceptible to it. And then there's that 1% that can resist it a little bit. But if you took the full regimen, it would be wiped out. But since you didn't take the full regimen, there's like 1 to 5% that is a little bit resistant to it. And then after you clean the rest of the bacteria out, only that one that's a little bit resistant to it populates everything.
Yeah.
So now it takes like even more to kill that same amount of bacteria. And eventually that keeps happening to the point where it just becomes completely resistant. And by the way, our safety net for antibiotics is not that big. Like we prescribe things. We prescribe like the generic stuff. And then there's like one level above that like kills everything. And then there's one above that you do not give out. Like the CDC has all of this kind of antibiotic. That's it. Like basically if that doesn't cure it, you're done.
You're dead.
We don't have anything else. So there's like 2 levels of protection between any normal bacteria and being completely uncurable.
Oof.
Just let that sink in for a second. Take your antibiotics, people. Take them all.
That's the point. But all that going back to, I think I think the most realistic way that society collapses is either a crazy, ridiculous war, whether that's over water, because I think that could be what the next big wars are over, is over fresh water.
I agree.
Which is going to be ridiculous that humans are reduced to that, but it's quite possible.
Right.
Or there's a crazy disease of some sort that we just don't know how to hang with, and it starts to wipe out people. Like when the Native Americans came into contact with the Europeans and smallpox became a thing,
wiped out the Native Americans.
Wiped them out, and their societies collapsed. And it was like, there's this invisible force that is killing us. And so everybody just like fled. What are we looking at here? Seth did some Googling.
I did do some Googling.
And now there's some nice looking milkshakes. Ooh, I could go for some dairy.
Well, first off, let me finish our apocalypse.
Yes,
talk.
please.
I think water scarcity is a huge one. I think our technology needs to rapidly get better at that kind of stuff.
Mississippi will become a holy mecca, though, if water becomes an issue.
We've never really had a water issue.
We have too much water. That's our issue. We're like, what do we do with all this fresh water?
Like if it rains hard for 10 minutes, like we get a flash flood warning. That's how much water we have. Which is sad. I know there are parts of the world that actually suffer from that. It's pretty bad. But like just hearing, by the way, Saudi Arabia, as rich and as pretentious as they are, do you know how they get fresh water to like
Don't they do
Dubai?
salinity stuff? They
have salinity stuff, but you know what they do?
They just buy it?
They go out to the Arctic, capture an iceberg, and then tow it to Dubai and just let it sit in the harbor. And then they like chip it off, and that's like how they get water. Not even kidding.
No way.
Not even kidding.
That's stupid.
This is a thing.
You're lying.
I'm not lying. I was, for those who don't know, I did a study abroad in Morocco.
For those of you who don't know, I'm kind of a big deal.
I'm kind of a big deal. I went to Morocco, and we studied water desalination techniques. And one of the things
they tow an iceberg to Dubai.
This is what they do.
Are you kidding me?
No. So, yeah, this is the plan.
Wait, so they have done this?
They've done this on a small scale, but they want to, like, actually solve their water problems with this. Like,
but if it's sitting in the saltwater harbor, it's just
slowly melting, yeah.
Thousands of gallons of fresh water will be wasted.
Well, here we go. An average iceberg contains 20 billion gallons of water, enough for 1 million people for 5 years.
Okay, I understand.
And where is most of the world's fresh water kept?
In ice, in the North Pole or South Pole.
Yes. So that's it. But anyways, that's beside the point. Water scarcity, nuclear war would suck. I don't see us coming back from that.
Oh no, we're dead. Unless you have an underground bunker. If you've ever heard of doomsday preppers, you should do some Googling. Post Malone is a doomsday prepper. He has a bunker.
I believe in 5% doomsday prepping. I believe in like prepping for minor emergencies.
Yeah, I think if it's to the point where you need a legitimate bunker underground, 1, you're probably dead anyway. 2, what's the point?
I agree. But at the very end of this talk, Connor, I wanted to look at some questions that maybe some females would like to hear from some male perspectives.
Okay, I like that idea.
Okay.
And so you've Googled Cosmopolitan.
And then I Googled this question, and then Cosmopolitan came up. No wonder. And we're looking at these questions. They're almost all about male genitalia.
Oh, goodness gracious. This ought to be fun for everyone.
You know what? Maybe we... I mean, you pick one, Connor. You pick one.
Okay, I can't answer that one. Let's scroll back up.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be able to eat whatever you want and never put on weight.
Oh.
I think that is insensitive.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's
Guys
false.
don't do that. Guys are actually pretty conscious about their weight, more than you would think.
And that's actually what Cosmopolitan says here. It says, what? Who is this guy? Most guys are actually aware of what they eat and how much they eat. That is true. I think that there is probably a little bit more pressure on women to look a certain way, especially because of, the feminine mystique and that women don't poop and et cetera, right? That whole deal.
But as far as eating specifically goes, I mean, there's definitely more social pressure on girls, I would feel like. Like, oh,
for sure,
you got the double burger? Whereas dudes, it's like, yeah,
you got the double burger.
Getting double burgers. Everybody gets double burgers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like men are allowed to smash, so to speak, to a point.
Yes.
It's like, as long as there's still the pressure to have the 6-pack abs,
100%.
Like, it's still there.
Yeah, absolutely. No guy is sitting there like, I could be like 40, 50 pounds overweight and be like completely happy with myself.
And so what the thing is that what's weird for dudes is that there's a culture of you have to be able to order the double burger and eat all of it and be fine with that, but you also have to have the 6-pack abs. So it's a super weird dichotomy there, where with girls it's like, well, you're not supposed to eat food because you're supposed to look incredible.
Right.
So it's kind of weird.
It is weird. I think guys there's also more pressure for guys to be really athletic and guys to go to the gym a lot.
Very true.
I feel like more so than girls, but
I don't think that there's pressure for girls to be athletic. There's just pressure for girls to look good.
Yes, absolutely.
There's more pressure for girls to look good than there is for guys to look good, but there's more pressure for guys to be athletic and go to the gym than there are for girls, I think.
Right. You go to any gym, you'll never see a more self-conscious group of guys than like a college gym.
Oh, for sure.
Everybody's in there like just staring in the mirror like, oh gosh, do my arms look small?
The only thing you have to do in the gym, either one, to get it in a fight, or two, make a college guy question everything he knows about himself, is call him a wuss or say he's looking kind of fat or bloated or something.
Yeah. Joking like that is honestly how guys kind of talk to other guys.
They compensate.
Well, if you have a friend and they're normally pretty in shape.
I have a few of those.
But you bring them to a restaurant, mm-hmm. and they're sitting there, and you've noticed for like the past 3 weeks, they're just getting the Freshman 15 burger from Bulldog Burger.
The Freshman 15 is real.
It is absolutely real.
Especially at Mississippi State, because they have premium ice cream at all the different cafeterias, mm-hmm. and the reason that it's premium is that it's 13% fat or more.
That's when it turns into the Freshman 40. And the Freshman 40 is a disease. It just spreads. It goes around.
It'll get you.
Cookout
is dangerous.
Dangerous. Because you can spend $5 and get 2,000 calories. Which should scare you.
It should be illegal.
That's as much food as you need in a day for $5, and you're eating it at 3 a.m.
How do they do that?
You're drunk.
You think?
Cookout? Oh gosh, their margins must be paper thin.
They probably make maybe 3 to 5 cents on everything they sell.
I agree. That's why they have to just pump it out.
Yeah.
Pump it out. They also raised their cookout tray prices recently.
Did they?
It used to be close to $5 flat. Now it's $5.65.
Okay. It makes sense. It really does. I don't understand how I think we've talked about this on the podcast before, but if you can eat meat on a fairly regular basis, mm-hmm. you're part of the 1% in the world.
Yeah.
Eating meat in the rest of the world outside of America, or most of the world outside of America, is indicative of wealth. Because you can afford to raise an animal or pay for an animal to be raised and then slaughtered and then cleaned and then prepared. Mm-hmm. And that's very expensive. But America has found a way to make it mildly affordable.
Extremely affordable.
Extremely affordable.
With chicken.
Because factory farming is a thing.
Factory farming is a thing, and America knows the absolute most efficient way to make all this stuff because of our ultra-capitalist market. For example...
Yay, capitalism.
Cows born in Texas, raised in Mexico because it's cheaper to raise them there, back over the border, slaughtered in America. Genius. That's how your beef prices are so low.
There you go.
Chickens, it's disgusting what we do to them.
Oh, it's rough.
Tyson...
They never see the light of day. Tyson...
is one of those.
We're gonna just go ahead and cut ties with Tyson. I know that they were interested in sponsoring us.
We will no longer
Tyson
support your fillets at Walmart.
We will not.
Or your appetizer things that are delicious.
But it's not good.
But no, it's
Sanderson Farms, though. I go hard for Sanderson Farms. Have you ever gotten a chicken breast from Sanderson Farms?
Absolutely.
Yeah, let me throw you a scenario. You walk into the store. Okay. You go over to the meat section.
Yes.
And you're just immediately happy because what non-vegan, normal human being goes to the meat section and isn't happy? No one.
I love when people just swarm around the meat section and everybody's like looking like, what chicken breast am I going to get today?
Mm-hmm. Oh. But if you go and you pick up a Sanderson Farms thing of chicken breast. They're massive.
They're big.
They are some big breasts.
And they're everywhere.
There
are a lot of them.
And it's incredible.
And you can get the little tenderloins, the little quarter breasts.
I do like a good tenderloin.
A good what, Connor?
A good tenderloin. A chicken tenderloin.
A good tenderloin.
That is from Sanderson Farms.
Okay. Yeah, I agree.
And I actually, believe it or not, will be cooking some later this evening.
No kidding.
Because I haven't eaten dinner and I'm pretty hungry.
Okay.
And this alcohol hit kind of hard because my stomach is a little empty. But I had like 3 glasses of it.
I gotta say, Connor, this was a good purchase.
Yeah, I'm happy with it. It's going to add some height to my alcohol collection.
It's exactly the same height as our microphone, which is kind of eerie.
That is crazy. Which, by the way, if you didn't listen to the last episode and you're listening to this one still because you're a real G and you're hanging around.
100% G.
100% G. We got a new microphone. That's why we sound better. And it's sexy.
It looks beautiful.
It really does.
It's a big, blue, cylindrical...
Thick.
Master.
You just said master thick. Is what you just said.
Oh, man. Well, yeah. Connor, how would you rate your whiskey throughout the podcast at the end?
You know?
I'm gonna write down a number before you say it, just so you don't feel like pressured or I don't change my number.
Okay. My number at the end of this, I know I started with an 8.2.
Okay.
I believe. I think I'm going to take it to an 8.5 for me.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I went ahead and bumped mine up to an 8.35.
Wow.
I did, because it just got better.
The 2 decimal places.
On the rocks, this stuff tastes amazing.
On the rocks, it's really good. I just think this whiskey brought the best out of us both tonight.
I think it did. It did its job. It
really did, in a beautiful way. And that's what this is all about. Just having a goof, having a gaff with some whiskey.
And a friend.
And hopefully you have a friend and a whiskey to enjoy this podcast with.
Yeah.
That's what we want here.
We actually just want people to sit at a table and drink whiskey and listen to our podcast.
Very true. And also, I forgot to mention this at the beginning, but it is one of the most important and biggest things to mention this episode. Is at the time of recording this episode, we've just thrown up some new art on our channel. And we've gotten a couple new thumbnails. And we've gotten
a new banner.
And a new little profile circular picture thing. And there is one wonderful woman who has put that all together.
Yes,
She's incredible. And her name is Avery. Her name is Avery Harmon. She is an incredible artist. And if you need some artwork done, or if you like what she put together on our channel, email us, because I don't have her contact information on hand, and we'll put you in touch.
We will.
Because she's incredible. So
she
check that out, because the art is awesome, and it's still coming in because she's really great. And if you yourself are an artist, sir or madam who is listening to this, and you just want to draw us something,
be careful.
No, I'm taking it all the way.
Okay.
Send us an email
with your artwork.
With your artwork, and maybe it'll become a thumbnail as long as it's YouTube appropriate. Who knows? But at this point, we don't get monetized, so it doesn't matter. We can throw up non-monetizable content. And it's fine.
Sure, just all right. Throw us anything.
Just throw us anything.
Send us whatever you want.
But send us an email at nonsense, then a capital N at nothingness. Or nonsense, capital N, nothingness at gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram at nonsense and nothingness.
Just catch us on the latest whiskeys, see what we're doing.
For sure.
And catch up with our latest episodes.
Also, last, but certainly not least, we're just going to make this the channel update section of the podcast. Seth and I have talked, and we have decided that we want to do some podcast highlights.
Yes.
And so, on the channel, you're going to now see, probably by the time you're listening to this video...
Honestly, yeah.
Probably, some highlights. Some shorter videos of some topics that we find interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That we pull from certain podcasts and we just throw up there. So
and we'd really appreciate it if you take a watch.
Take a goose. Take a gander.
Take a couple minutes and just look around our channel, see if you like anything, and enjoy it. Give us some feedback. We'd love to hear what you guys like.
Hit a subscribe.
Hit the notification bell.
Everything in between. We're full-on YouTubers now.
Yeah, hit all the buttons.
Every single button you can. Pour a glass of whiskey, listen to a video, have a couple laughs, just do your thing with us. Whatever that means to you.
Get a little nonsense in your life.
A little bit of nothingness, throw it all together, and you just have a good time. And that's what it's all about. And so, with all that being said, Seth and
Connor,
ladies and gentlemen at the other end of this mic, we love ya.
And don't forget...
Be nothing.
Be nothing.